Alright guys, so got something a little bit different for this video. This is actually going to be a comparison between an AliExpress watch and a Microbrand. But not just any ordinary watches, these are actually both Micro-Rotor ones. So one of the which is a Lobinni, which you might have seen before, but the other one is actually one I've previously reviewed as well, Solas. There's something a little bit different about that one, so you haven't actually seen that specific one before. I'll talk about that as we get into the video a bit further and explain as we get on. Before I do, just to quickly mention, Lobinni actually sent me this watch for free, so I don't have to send it back, but as always, that's not going to affect the way I do my reviews. I'm going to keep it 100% honest all the time, no matter what. Now that's out of the way, let's get down to it. So this is the box that the Lobinni comes in then. It's quite nice actually. Nice kind of display kind of present style box. Nice ribbon on it. It's slightly cushioned as well. So, hang on, before I open it up, it also comes as well with a nice gift bag, which I think all the Lobinnis seem to, which is a nice touch. So let's see what we've got in here. I'll actually start with this. So we've got the instruction manual, but we don't really need that, so put that to one side. Then we've got the warranty card, not signed, not really a big deal, you kind of expect that with Chinese watches. And nothing else in there, just the watch. So as I said in the intro, you might have seen this before, another channel's actually reviewed this previously. Let's get a quick zoom in on that dial, see what we're dealing with. So it is a classy looking piece, I think. Quite vintage kind of style, vintage inspired I'd say. With that train tracker on the outside. Then we've got applied indices done in a nice silver. Got silver skeletonized hands. And then we've got that little sub dial for the seconds, which is slightly recessed. And then obviously the slightly beveled edge around the date window at 3 o'clock. With a nice little dot there instead of the 3, which is a nice thing. Do quite like that. It's not completely blank. Quickly zooming back out, let's take a look at the rest of the case. So we've got a nice curvature to those lugs, sloping down nicely, give it an elegant look. And then you can probably also see there, we've got a signed crown. If I zoom in. Yeah, we've got the L for Lobinni on that. And it is quite a nice crown as well actually. Kind of like a small onion style one. Nice and grippy. We've got an ever so slight curve to that crystal as well. But we'll test out in a bit whether it is sapphire or if it's just mineral. Seeing as we're zoomed in though, let's quickly have a look at the clasp. So got the Lobinni branding on that, and it's a butterfly style clasp. Zoom back out. It's faux croc style leather strap. Not really my favourite, but you can always swap it out because it is easy to do, because we have quick release spring bars, which is always nice to see. Seeing as we're around here, let's talk about the star of the show. That's that movement, because it really is a gorgeous movement. That Micro-Rotor. So again, as I said in the intro, I've seen this movement once before in another watch. So I should probably bring that out now, quickly show you that. So I'll pop that down for a minute and I'll show you this. So like I say, I've actually reviewed this watch before, but that was the prototype. So with this one, I actually won this, but I've not reviewed it until now because it was a little bit, I thought people might be a bit funny about it, the fact that I reviewed it and then somehow won the competition, but we'll explain that as we get into this. because they've actually left me a little note in it, which is quite nice. So, what are the chances? And he actually worked it out. 108 people entered. I ended up winning, so 108 to 1. But if you don't believe that, he did actually draw it live on his YouTube channel, I think. I'll probably try and leave a link down to that in the description, if you do want to check that out, just to be completely transparent and honest, because you know that's what we're all about here. But it was a nice little touch, that. So there's a quick glimpse of the watch, but take it out, because this isn't actually the case you'll get it in if you do get one. This is just one he used to send it to me. So here it is. I'm not going to go into massive detail on this. If you want to see more details about this particular watch, I'll leave a link to that up here, because like I say, I've reviewed the prototype previously. There's a couple of little changes with this one, because this is like a special edition version, and this actually has, believe it or not, a salmon leather strap. That is actually salmon scale, which I had to check, because when I first heard it, I was like, really? Salmon? It can't be. But it is. So let's go zoom in on that and quickly check it out. It is really cool. I've not seen anything like this. So it is pretty special, this one. And it's also got a pretty special dial too. But again, like I say, I'm not going to go into massive detail. If you want to see a separate review on this, let me know, and I might do that. But the reason I'm talking about this watch at all is because of this movement. So I'll see if I can get both of these in at the same time, if I can get this to work. So there they are side by side. I'll probably put pictures on screen now to show you in more detail exactly what they look like, but you kind of get the idea from that. The only difference being the Solas one is a slightly more decorated version of the movement apparently, and obviously it's got that gold colour. Otherwise the movements are identical. So the movement is actually a Hangzhou 5000A, which has got a 40 hour power reserve, high beat, so it's 28,800 beats per hour, and it's got a stated accuracy of plus to minus 10 seconds, but it doesn't hack, which isn't really a big deal. It's more dressy kind of style. I think that's what it's aimed at, which is what these watches both are. So seeing as we're around here, let's talk about some of the other similarities you get with these watches. So as you can see, they've both got quick release spring bars, which is always nice. Obviously they've got totally different straps. One's the faux croc, the other is that really unusual salmon strap, which again I've not seen anything like that before. When it comes to the clasps, they've got different style clasps as well. The Lobinni, like I said before, has got a butterfly one, whereas the Solas has got more of an Omega style fold over one. So that's just kind of down to personal preference, which you prefer. The main differentiator between these two is that dial, and obviously the strap. They both have the small seconds, both got the date window. It is actually colour matched on the Solas, which is nice. But then let's talk about the elephant in the room with these, and that's the price. With the Lobinni, you can pick this up currently on the AliExpress sale for, I think it's just over $200. That's the sale price, obviously. Normally it's a little bit more than that, but obviously with AliExpress they always kind of fluctuate. With the Solas, you can't actually get this at the moment. It was on Kickstarter previously, and the cheapest they had that on there for was $390. So you're probably wondering why the price difference. Obviously, a lot of it is down to that dial, and obviously the strap as well. It's not just your standard strap, and it's definitely not your standard dial. So that's where a lot of the price difference is, but obviously, with it being a micro brand, they just have more costs involved. They're not getting it direct from the factory, which tends to be the case a lot of the time with AliExpress watches. So they just kind of cut out the middleman, get it a lot cheaper. But that doesn't mean to say that one is better than the other. If you're after just pure specs, obviously the Lobinni is the better watch for you. But if you want an overall more complete design language, I'd say, for lack of a better term, then the Solas is a really good watch. And it's just got an overall kind of design language, like I say. So you've got the Irish made strap with a bit of Irish kind of text around the outside, tying it all together, and on the dial at 6 as well. Pop that down again, and let's get back to the Lobinni. So like I say, if you want pure specs and best value for money, obviously this is going to beat the Solas, but it depends what you're after. Oh, I forgot to mention one other slight difference is the crystal. The Solas has got a flat crystal, the Lobinni's got an ever so slight curve down to it. So the main difference, apart from the dial and the strap, is when it comes to the measurements. So let's quickly talk about them now. I'm not going to do what I normally do and actually do it on screen. I'll probably just pop up some stats on screen to show you, and we'll talk about them while they're on there. So as I was saying, there's quite a few differences when it comes to measurements, although they look quite similar. So to begin with, the thickness on the Lobinni is 10.2mm, although the listing does actually say it's 8.5, but that isn't right. It is 10.2, I've measured it. So the Solas, it's slightly thinner, 9.6. Got a diameter of 40mm on the Lobinni, whereas the Solas is 38. So maybe slightly better dimensions for a dress watch. Lug width on both of them is 20mm, so you wouldn't have a problem swapping out straps. Plenty of options if you do that, because most people tend to have a lot of 20mm straps, not one of these odd 19 or 21s, so you're fine with that. When it comes to lug, there's a little bit of difference too. The Lobinni is 47mm lug to lug, whereas the Solas is actually 44, so quite compact in comparison. Although the Lobinni isn't big, that's also pretty compact. At the moment though, you can't actually pick that one up, but it will be coming back in stock apparently, but it will be coming in with an increased price. So you won't be getting it at that Kickstarter price. It's going to be around $580, so quite a bit more than Kickstarter. But you kind of expect that. Kickstarter prices, you get better prices because you're kind of helping start the brand off, Kickstarter, which is where the name comes from. Obviously with the Lobinni, it's always going to be cheaper. So as I said it previously, if you're after just pure specs, get the Lobinni. If you want a more cohesive design overall, you want to fancy a dial, then go for the Solas. Luckily, I don't have to choose and I get both, because I think they kind of serve both different purposes for me. This one I'm probably going to wear more casually, whereas this one's going to be something a bit more special. So now let's test whether they've both got Sapphire Crystal or not, because you can't always trust specs and stats on listings, we know that. So let's test it using, you know what's coming, the trusty Diamond Selector 2. So let's get a zoom in. Start with the Lobinni. So yep, we've got Sapphire Crystal on that. What about the Solas? Yep, that's also Sapphire Crystal. Let's quickly flick them over and test out the back. So again, Lobinni first. Yep, we've got Sapphire Crystal on that. And on the Solas, Sapphire Crystal on that. So that is a nice touch. You don't always get Sapphire Crystal on the back, especially when it comes to AliExpress watches, to be honest, as well. So let's get a quick look at these side by side so you can see, well, see if you can see those dimension differences, because they are quite subtle. You can kind of tell with the lug to lug one when you got a side by side, but with the dial size and the case diameter overall, you can't really tell. So let's see what they both look like on wrist. So starting with the Solas, this is what it looks like on my 7-inch wrist. And there's that Omega style clasp. So again, this is 38mm. And as you can see, that dial is playing really nicely with the light. That aventurine dial, something a little bit special. And that unusual salmon scale strap is also really unique. So let's see what the Lobinni looks like. And this is what the Lobinni looks like. So you can tell it does wear slightly larger, but still wears really nicely on my 7-inch wrist again. Again, I'm not overly keen on the strap myself. I'll probably swap it out for something else. But considering the price of the watch, it's not really too big a deal. I don't mind it. I do like the way the light plays with those indices as well, with them being applied. It's a nice touch. So I'll quickly take this off and quickly do a recap and just my final impressions of what I think of these two watches. So here they both are. What is it you're getting with these two watches, and why the difference in price? So I briefly touched on this earlier, but with the Lobinni you're just basically getting the best specs you can get for the money. Whereas the Solas, you're getting a more cohesive design, more of a, it's going to sound a little bit pretentious, but more of a vision. Because this is someone's vision. That's what microbrands are all about. Somebody wanted to make something a little bit special, something you don't see every day, and I think they've done that. The combination of that dial, that movement, and that strap, it's definitely something unique. The Lobinni, great watch as well, but it just serves a different purpose, for a different kind of target audience. So they're both great watches in their own rights, so I'll happily recommend both of these watches. Obviously, like I say, you can't get the Solas at the moment. If you're lucky enough to get one on the Kickstarter, let me know down in the comments what you think of it, if you're happy with it, and what you think of the Lobinni in comparison, whether you'd be interested in picking up one or both. But that's it for this one, guys. Now it's been a bit different, a little bit longer. I won't be doing videos this long all the time, don't worry about that. This is a bit special, a little bit of one-off. But that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.